this island come from? Is that person? How lovely. It's been a lot of time since I talked to anyone. What's wrong, dude? Lost. I'm looking for you. I'm really out of ideas. When I try to create, I feel empty. I have nothing left to give to anyone. Now I feel this when I'm writing music. Like when I sit back and I'm like, actually I try to come up with a piece. You know, I haven't written music in a while just because, for this exact reason. You know, I sit down and I'm like, okay, I'm motivated, I'm ready. Let's write music. And I sit there and I'm just like, just staring at it, like what do I do? Like I don't know what to do. And so I just sit there and I just try to play random shit on my piano, but it's like, no, so then I default back to what I know, and I go back to just playing songs that I know, and I don't actually create anything. And honestly, for me to create something, the last thing I wrote, it took my sister to ask me to do it, because then I wasn't doing it for myself anymore, I was doing it for her, but it helped motivate me to actually delve back into that side of me, that creative side, and start making music again. And that was right around the time that the movie Us came out, right? And so I was, for weeks, you know, she had this project due. I had 2 months to get her music, and for like the first 6 weeks, I couldn't think of anything. And then Us came out, and I watched that, and I instantly was inspired by the way they did the strings and the plucking of the cellos and stuff. And I knew that style of ambient sounds and stuff would really work for her video. And then right then I started creating all this music, and then I realized that her video needed more than just the one song. It needed 2 songs. You know, it was a short little minute and a half little animation, but it needed more than just the one song. And it's all about, and her video was about a violinist dealing with the devil, similar to Devil Down in Georgia. Obviously that's a fiddler, but similar to that. But it was like, you know, and turns out, I don't want to spoil it because, you know, she may want to post it, but you know, and I had to create a mood for somebody dealing with the devil, but at the same time he's lost himself along the way and he's not really who he once was. And so when I listened to the theme for the Us soundtrack, the OST, it just really captivated me. I was able to create something. But before that, anytime I wrote something, I would just delete it. I would write something, I'd spend like hours, I'd spend days on it, and then I would just delete, because the next day it was not the same. It just felt empty. So I found out that, you know, sometimes it's okay to feel empty. You know, it's okay to sit back and just relax for a bit and wait for the right moment, because sometimes you can't always just sit there and just force it. It has to be natural for it to be, you know, truly your creation. But I'm gonna move on now. But I did have a lot of fun creating that piece. It was really nice. Oh no, what's happening? Something changed? There was a machine that kept me going and it stopped. I'm trying to find this engine that used to protect me to start it again. See, okay, that's what I mean. Like, so when I would create, I would default back into like just stuff that I know, and I would just go back to playing covers instead of creating something new. And that's basically what he's saying. He's looking for that old engine that he's familiar with. He's not ready to push forward and stuff. So that's what I'm trying to find, this engine that used to protect me to start it again. And if I'm getting this correct, he's thinking about the game engine, the old one that he was using. This is obviously, I mean, an updated version of it. It's still similar. I don't know much about game engines, but he's definitely upgraded. But he's starting to really push his boundaries and his comfortableness. You know, he's starting to, you know, mature and grow as a person, and really start to understand his inner feelings. And he's able to really display that. Maybe that's why it's taken him so long to make these new games. It's because it's so much taxing on him. You know, it's not easy work, and it definitely takes a toll on you. Like, you can't just make something and it not mean something. So if I write a piece that's like really sad or really dark, I have to be in that mindset to do it. Like, I can't just sit here and just go, dark note, dark note. That sounds nice. Okay. Like, no, like, when I write music like that, it's like I have to really live through that feeling, you know? I have to sit there and just get myself into that mind frame. Like, so before I write something, it's like I think about what genre do I want to do, and then from there I pick a genre. Okay, then I have to literally get myself and my mentality into that genre, and sometimes you're there for weeks writing, you know, and that's very taxing. It's like you're living in this fake feeling just to create what you feel you need to create, but you have to, you know, live in it, and you're in there for a long time until it's finally done. And maybe that's why his games are really short too. I mean, but this is such a beautiful game. Wow, I did not expect to delve so much into this on my very first video. I keep looking at my webcam instead of you guys. I'm sorry, I'm new to this. I'm not. This is just something I was not ready for to start at 3 in the morning. And I get work in the morning too, so I'm definitely staying up after this. This is but that's okay. I'm having an amazing time. I'm glad that I picked this game, because this is really, like, not only are we trying to find out what's going on with Coda, the narrator's also like trying to figure himself out, and meanwhile me as the player, I'm like relating and figuring everything out as well. This is really amazing. But anyway, I'm gonna go back. Oh, there was a machine that kept me going and it stopped. Let me do that one. Something. Oh, there we go. Wait, you're looking for a machine? I think I know where it is. It isn't far. I hear water. Where's the water? What? You have to take me to it. Like, for me, if I'm getting this
If the
correctly,
last game featured Coda talking explicitly about his creative frustrations, this one turns it up to 11. Now, put yourself in my shoes playing this. Here's a friend whose work is exhibiting signs of struggle, frustration, anxiety, depression, even. And yet, still, he keeps making games. He keeps throwing himself into the grinder even when he clearly doesn't have the energy for it anymore. Why? What is it for?
so, he's looking for a new inspiration. He's looking for, he's lost his way, and, he's looking for, and he wrote it to help. He wrote a character in here to, like, help him feel like he's talking to someone else, to really spark the interest again. And that, for me, that was just like my sister, when she was like, I need you to write this for me, please. And, she was my machine, she was the catalyst to get me back into my creative mode. So it's only natural for him to be really excited for it. And you will solve any puzzle. Like, the puzzle that's, we'll find the machine. If you can help me solve the puzzle, it's guarded by difficult puzzle. For me, my difficult puzzle was, I didn't know what to write for her, and I didn't have that feeling. I didn't know. But I solved it by, doing some research, and then eventually that didn't work, and then doing some more, listening to a lot of orchestra pieces, listening to a lot of other stuff, and then eventually, it just hit me. I solved my puzzle, what to do, and I was able to write it. So I'm gonna hit deal. We're gonna solve this one. We're gonna get him back into his creative mojo. Sorry, cat.
Because
Perfect. Come on,
from my perspective at the time, and just what I knew of him, this was a result of how isolated he was. He was in his own little bubble, just sitting at his computer all day, not really showing these games to anyone, not releasing them onto the internet, and so he didn't have anyone outside of himself to connect with. He had no outlet to ground himself on.
Yeah, now you have to open the first door. No. You have to close the first door. what's next? Now it's just close. No, it's just open. Now just press the switch here. Now we're back in creating.
You can't talk yourself out of loneliness. It doesn't work that way. You can't be the one writing both the questions and the answers. Then there's no movement. Then there's no circulation. If all of your anxieties are being channeled into your work, then if the work ever fails, you have no backup and you're just going to crash.
No, unless you write it and then you erase it from your memory that you wrote it, so you play it as someone new. Which is possible. I mean, there's pieces that I wrote that I don't remember. Like, I hit play and I'm like, when did I write this? I don't remember this. Why did I do that? And it's possible, you know? Ha, that was so simple. I can't believe I never solved it before this. Stop. There's no machine here. These are just words and symbols. Suffocating doesn't work. These aren't just some words on the wall. These are my words. The words I chose as a player. Trust me, you'll see. You have to say that your work is fun and easy. You have to say that the game development is simple and joyous and that you love it. No. I mean, sure, making games is easy, but anybody can make a game if you just watch YouTube videos, but it's about creating the game, not just making it. You know, like sure, I can make spaghetti, but you know, if I don't actually take my time and like actually go, you know, put the good ingredients in, and, you know, actually make an effort and put my heart into it, it's just gonna taste like marinara and noodles that I probably don't cook the whole way. But anyway, that was a terrible analogy. But so I'm gonna pick sure making games is easy. Why did I feel so awful when I said that? Like, I get it, the walls are crumbling down, and don't worry about it, just keep talking, keep saying creation is easy. When I make games, I feel completely. I'm constantly excited and enthusiastic. It's easy, it never stops being easy. Alright, so now we have different options. So, when I make games, I feel completely energized. Not really. I'm constantly excited and enthusiastic about my work. Yes, because he keeps doing it. Are my new words coming out?
Seeing this game at the time that he made it, it looked really unhealthy to me. I was watching him do this to himself, and I hated it.
Every time
I hated seeing him so trapped. It's like, video games are not worth this amount of suffering.
But what if it's not really suffering?
This is someone I really cared
about.
about.
He might actually be suffering,
and I used to get
like,
so much joy out of seeing him create. For him to suddenly become angry and frustrated like this, it was the worst thing for me.
But maybe he just, this is his diary. Maybe this is just how he can really figure his own self out and do his own soul searching. These sacrifices made for my work are worth 100% of the time. Sacrifices? Yes. Because after it's made, no matter how long it takes, just the feeling you get is just, it's surreal. It's just...
I don't know. This is what I felt at the time. I don't know how else to explain it. I wanted it to stop more than anything. I had never felt so rotten. I needed more than I had ever needed anything for this to stop.
There's no shame, no fear, no guilt. I would be saved by my work. I believe this. Unquestionably. Questioningly. I am a vessel for certain. Crap. That's it. I found the lamppost. That was him breaking down his mental walls. And he made a game design for when he in the future has mental walls, he can replay this to help bring him back up again. That's amazing. There's someone on the couch. Guys, there's someone on the couch.
But it didn't stop. After finishing this one, Coda takes another 7 months and comes up with a new game.